Sometimes when you're pursuing your dreams, everything is working out really, really well. But sometimes you'll have doubts. And sometimes you might be considering giving up altogether. So what do you do to keep the dream alive? That's our question today. Hi, I'm Paul Allen Clifford with TrinityDigitalMedia.com, and I had this exact problem yesterday. Now, what's funny is that I came up with this idea about a month ago. The idea for the topic, I just wrote down keeping the dream alive, came up with that about a month ago. And then I had a crisis of belief yesterday. You see, as a lot of you know, my wife was in a car accident on September 1st where her car was totaled. The other driver didn't have insurance. So the cost for the car repair or replacement, probably in this case, is all on us. So, what do? One of the alternatives is that I quit doing what I'm doing. I go back to working in a corporate environment, and we just see how that works. But I don't like that. In fact, it's kind of a depressing thought to me because this is my dream. This is what I've always wanted to do, and I'm doing it. And it was so hard to start doing it that I don't want to leave and then try and start again because I'm not sure that I'll be able to. So, what are some things that I can do? What are some things that you can do when you're in a similar situation? Number one, get an accurate picture. Last night I had this idea in my head that there was no hope. And if there's no hope, the only thing you can do is give up. But my wife went through the budget. She told me some stuff, and it turns out that we were both mistaken about some stuff, so there actually is hope. In fact, there's quite a lot of hope. So get an accurate picture. That's very, very, very important to step number one. Step number two, cut expenses to bare minimums. I have an older phone. I'm getting by just barely on $10 to $20 a month of prepaid minutes and a few other things like that. My internet is spotty at best. So maybe I've cut that a little too far. Our car insurance is just bare minimum. We live in a rented townhome, and this space, despite looking like something that maybe you'd see Johnny Ive talking on an Apple commercial, is actually a spare bedroom. We've cut down expenses to the bare minimum, and that helps us keep going. Next, consider freelance work or a part-time job. If money is really the problem and you've cut down to the bare minimum and you're still not quite making it, figure out ways to make it by doing something else. Even if it's temporary, even if it's small, do something to keep going. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to sell 40 hours a week to the man like you used to do. Maybe 20 hours a week at a part-time job would be more than adequate to help you make it. It could be that you need to do some part-time work, as I said, or maybe some freelance work. Some work that just brings in a little extra money. That's kind of what I'll be doing next month, so I'll have to be creative with these live streams as I try and figure out a way to pay for this car that we'll have to buy for my wife. But it helps keep the dream alive. Also, have as much runway as you can. Now, in startup parlance, what that means is having as much savings as you can. Now, if you've already started your dream, you might be thinking, but how can I do that? Pay attention to when you have a windfall and don't spend all that extra money. Keep some of it in reserve for a rainy day. Dave Ramsey calls this an emergency fund. If you don't have one, try and figure out a way to get one. Maybe that's, again, some freelance work, some part-time work, just something, selling stuff, whatever it takes to get a little extra for the emergencies that will happen. And finally, number 5, pray. If this is your calling, if this is what you were made to do, and by the way, I'm not using those terms metaphorically. I believe I was created, that there's a reason that I exist, and the reason that I exist is what I'm doing. So if that's the case, I should just pray about it. You see, God would be on my side if He made me to do what I am doing. So I should ask Him about it. By the way, I'm not talking about asking for Him to bless what I'm already doing. What I'm asking is that He would direct me into what He wants to bless that I'm doing. So if I'm hearing wrong, if I'm doing something wrong, if I'm taking a wrong road, I want to correct that immediately. But there are other possibilities as well. There are other things that I could be praying about as well. Remember, Jesus said, seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and then all the other things would be added to you. Now, what was the context of that? When He was talking about not worrying about what you eat, what you wear, and saying that life is more than these things. You see, God knows what we need. He created us with needs. So, knowing that we have needs, He is willing to fulfill them. So, I'm praying in that general direction, that I would be doing what He has for me to do. So, let me ask you, do you have an accurate picture? Are you willing to do some freelance work? Are you cutting expenses? Do you have enough runway, or can you figure out a way to get it? And are you praying? Those all together are the 5 ways that you'll keep your dream alive so that you can go out and change eternity. Until next time, I'm Paul Allen Clifford with TrinityDigitalMedia.com.